Pamela, Ramey Tatum, and I'm an artist here at the Hub on Canal in Studio 5. And I'm going to do a demo for you today of one of my umbrella girls. Umbrellas happens to be a very big theme of mine. I'm known as the Umbrella Lady. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about a few of my paintings. This one is a city scene painting with a very abstract background. Sometimes I do a city scene, often Times Square, with a lot of detail in the background, and also people under umbrellas, always with the lovers in the city scenes. And this is this is the last of my Umbrella Girls originals that's left. I did about 12 of them, I think, and they're all sold except her. And this one is a print, and I just want to show you this because all of my work is available in various size prints and also cards. So I'll get right to the demo. I'm going to paint another Umbrella Girl. So I'm going to be demoing a new Umbrella Girl painting today. And I'll just tell you one of the ways in which I get my inspiration for my color palette is just sometimes I see a piece of fabric, or in this case, this little box of mine. It's very old, I've had it for a long time, but I love the colors in this box. And so I decided to use this as a color palette for this Umbrella Girl. So I'll get right to it. So one of the things that I do when I paint these normally is I think about having a light side and a dark side to the painting. So this I'm going to make my darker side, and this is going to be my lighter side. So I'm just keeping that in mind, and I'm going to go ahead and just start putting some paint on. So I'm just going to continue putting some paint on. And I use this orange underneath as a base color just because it'll look very interesting in the end to have some of that showing through rather than white. It's just much more interesting. And I'll add a little bit more of the orange in probably, as I just did. So basically what I'm doing is just creating something that looks interesting. And this is just the first pass. So I will come back and put other colors and so on in the painting. But this is just my first pass. I'm also going to designate right away that this dress is going to be yellow. Just so you know where I'm going. The umbrella is going to be orange. Almost the color of the background of the canvas. Her hair is going to be dark. It's going to be brown. Okay, so that just gives me an idea of where I'm going to be going in this painting. So I try to do strokes that are different and interesting, a little bit of scraping sometimes. I'm using phthalo green. I'm using cad yellow light. And to get that real dark color, I'm adding a little bit of transparent oxide red. And my favorite paint is Gamblin. So this is just going to have the idea of, I don't want to do anything super detailed or specific. I just want some implied stuff happening in the background. And it doesn't have to look wonderful yet, because I have several more passes that I will do to make this look the way I want. I do want to have some sky color going on, so I'm going to use a little bit of cobalt blue. Let me go right up to the umbrella there. I try to keep it varied. So I don't want all this blue to be exactly the same. In some places it's going to be a little bit darker, and some places a little bit lighter. And some places I'll have some of the orange showing through, which I want. One of the things also that's important is that all 4 corners of the painting should be different. So I'm going to make sure that, in fact, this may not be like this at the end, but I'm going to always be thinking about that as I'm painting, that I want to make sure that each of the corners is different. Now this is going to be my lighter side, so I'm going to go ahead and go in with some lighter green. There's got to be some dark in there too. And I'm going quite a bit faster than I probably normally would. And I think I want to put a little bit of sky up here, showing through. So with the knife, you can do all kinds of wonderful strokes, as you can see, and just do interesting So normally I paint the background first, and then I paint my girl. I like to have the background, maybe not 100% finished, but I like to have a lot of the background done. Today I might do it a little differently, just so that you can see how I approach the girl. So I want this a little bit darker right here. At the base of all this So this is going to be my lighter side. It's not looking that light right now, but it will later. So I'm just going to keep building this kind of in greens. And then later I'll be putting in some other colors, pinks and reds and so forth. Maybe I'll go ahead and just put some variety of colors. I don't plan these that much. I just kind of paint and feel into it and see where it goes. And I'm usually pretty happy with it in the end. It was a little darker than I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be closer to the just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I keep building the painting, putting in kind of different colors. As I go. And I don't ever really know, like I said, I don't really know what's going to happen. I just see what it needs. Every now and then you have to step back and look at the painting and kind of see where you are. What it needs, where it needs to go. So I'm going to go ahead and work a little bit on the umbrella so that you can get an idea. Normally I wouldn't. I would kind of finish some of this a little bit more, but this painting would take me probably 4 or 5 days normally, so there's no way I can finish it in a half-hour demo. But I'm just going to mix some darker paint. That was a little bit too dark. And it's okay. I can mix the paint right on the canvas. That's really closer to the color that I wanted. So this, as I said, is my lighter side of the painting. Now, the umbrella is orange. However, I will put, oops, not that color. I need some, it's orange, but I don't want it to be all the same color. So I'm gonna add a couple of other, I'm adding a little bit of red. A little bit of yellow. With white. And this umbrella will definitely change again, probably a little bit, as I see what the rest of the painting, how the rest of the painting comes together. I may have some raindrops on it, or I don't know. We'll have to just see where it goes. Probably the way the light is, it's probably a little lighter at the top. So I'm just going to add a little light there. And I want to make sure that my edges are soft. So I don't want to perfect every little thing here. I want this to be pretty loose. Okay, so that's kind of the first, a quick pass of the umbrella. And I'm going to make her outfit is going to be yellow. So I'm going to put a little bit of yellow and a little violet, mix a little violet in for the darker shadow area of her dress. And then, let's see. So I'm going to do her dress first and then her hair, because the hair lays over the dress. So this side's going to be brighter than the other side. Now, of course, this is going to have to not be yellow right by her yellow dress. So that's the beauty of oil paint, is it's very easy to go back and change anything that you want. I want that sleeve to be kind of go out into like a bell shape. And we have to have some darker shadow color in there. Maybe even a little bit darker. So I just add a little violet. And this area under her hair also is going to be a little bit darker. Okay, no paint, no paint. I need to put out a little bit more paint here. So this side of the dress is a little bit higher because she's in the middle of a step. She's walking and this leg is bent. So that means that that side of the dress, I don't have to look at anything anymore to paint these figures. So I've done so many of them, I kind of know what the body's doing as it's walking away. So the dress is not finished, but it's a first pass. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to stick a little bit of flesh tone that I'm making just from red, yellow, white, and maybe a little transparent oxide red just to put her hand there. And I'll do her pocketbook later, and her legs I'll do later on. But now I'm going to go back to kind of working on some of this area. So green is one of those strange colors. It can get very garish. So I always put a tiny bit of red. Even when I'm putting a lot of yellow, I'll still put some red in there so that it doesn't get too loud. It's just one of those things about green. That to be a little bit lighter. So these kind of paintings, I just, you know, it's just kind of using intuition, standing back every now and then and seeing like, what do I have? What does it need? I don't do a whole lot of planning with this kind of painting. Some paintings I do, but this one is just sort of like playtime for me. Yeah, I mean, it's work, but I also feel like with these kind of paintings, I can just have a lot of fun. And I don't have to be super precise and just make it a really fun painting. So to keep this edge here soft, it's a little hard right now. So I just go back in and mess it up. And I kind of like the yellow. I don't know how that happened there, that little bit of yellow. But I'm going to leave it because I kind of like it. One of those Bob Ross happy accident things. I think that's what he called them. So I need a little bit more sky in there. And again, I don't want it all the same color. So yeah, this is lighter, but I don't care. And that got into the dress. And again, I really don't care because that kind of stuff helps keep it loose anyway. Just don't want our dress to turn green with that blue. This blue and yellow can make green. But sometimes with these paintings, if I do get too precise, I have to go back and kind of mess it up later. So I'm gonna just stick some sky color. And this is kind of blue-green. So you really have to wipe your knife a lot because once you do a stroke or two, it's going to be picking up what's underneath, you know, if you're laying paint on top of wet paint, which I am doing. But that's one of the beauties of this kind of painting is it's really wet on wet. I don't want to, I'll finish it in a few days. I don't want it to get dry on me. I want to do the whole thing, whoops, the whole thing wet on wet. I'm gonna go ahead and put her hair in. And I'm just doing brown. It's my favorite combination of transparent oxide red and ultramarine blue. And I'm just scraping it in a little bit so that it doesn't look too perfect. Letting a little bit of the yellow in is fine. And if I get something I want to cover up, it's no problem. just go right in and cover it up. And I think that shoulder is a little bit too light because it's under the umbrella. So I'm gonna make it a little bit darker than it is. Scrape a little bit of that off and come back with some of the purple and yellow together. That's purple is the complement, or violet. So if I add that to the yellow, it gives me a dulled down color that's good for the shadows on her dress. And I'm just going to add a little bit of that into her dress. I'm not sure if I like that or not, but I can always take it out later if I decide I don't like it. And she has a purse strap here. Actually, I think I'm gonna have her purse in her hand rather than there. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna go back and make that not a purse strap. See the beauty of oil, you can goof up and you can fix it pretty easily. I do want a little bit dark right there. And her purse, I'll go ahead and just put in something for her purse there. See, it only takes a couple of strokes. And then I can just go right up against there. Now I want to get to some of the fun pinks and reds before this is over. So even though technically, if I were really doing this painting by myself in my studio, I would have done nothing for about probably 3 hours but paint the background. So I'm going pretty fast, but I'm going to go ahead and do this just so that you can see how fun this is. So I can start putting in some color, a little bit of orange. I have a nice pink color here that I made from quinacridone red. Maybe just indicate some flowers. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. Still not happy with this sleeve here. Need a little bit more variety in it. It's too much all one color. So I'm just putting a little bit of orange in there. And I want to end up, before it's over, I want some purple. because the purple is a nice contrast with the red. Those are opposites on the color wheel, and that will just liven things up. I don't want to put a whole lot, but definitely is a color, and it's on my box, so I know it's going to look really nice with this palette. Kind of like this. This is a phthalo turquoise with, no, I don't remember what else. I pre-mixed some of this paint and I'm not sure what. I think I put a little bit of cobalt blue in there as well. Now I'm trying to decide what I want that to do there. The beauty is you can just keep kind of playing with it until you get what you're happy with. I'm not real happy with that, so I want to lighten it up a little bit. So I have a lot of things going this way. So down here, I'm gonna try to, I will have some strokes going this way, but I definitely want to have some horizontal lines down at the bottom, because the ground normally you think of as horizontal. So basically, I'm just playing with paint, creating, that's a shadow, so it's going to be dark. I can slide the knife and create some interesting texture. And this is getting really dark, but that's okay because I'm going to go over it. This is just, if I have dark underneath, then when I put the light in, it's going to show up better. So on top of that, like on this side, I want to have a little bit of fun color. A bit of orange, which I have there, but I want it to be a little bit darker. And then I might indicate some rain. It's one of those summer rains. So it's not pouring, it's just one of those nice sprinkles. So that was the wrong color of blue. I went into the wrong pile. I wanted it to be a little bit lighter. So this is about all I'm going to have time for today. I'm not going to be able, obviously, to finish this painting, but if you keep your eye on the Hub Facebook page, you will be able to see the finished painting in a few days. So thanks so much for watching the demo. I enjoyed it myself, and I sure hope you did. Thanks again.